Hey guys, Zom Fox here, and today, as you can see from the title of the video, we're going to be talking about Kyle Sloter's performance in his first ever NFL preseason game since the USFL season ended. So, before we talk about his performance, before that, I just want to get this out of the way. I'm not going to be discussing in depth every single player's preseason performance. One, it'd be too many players. Two, it's just too much to do. But I will be going over a lot of the guys who have outstanding performances and discussing how good it is and how it helps them get on the team. Or if someone is historically bad, I will have to talk about them as well. But I will briefly talk about, in the Raiders sense, Isaiah Zuber and Ike Brown, who are both from the USFL. As for Isaiah Zuber, I didn't really see him do that much at all offensively. He was on the field for pretty much the entire second half, and usually he never really seemed to get fully open and be able to get, catch passes from mainly Nick Mullins or Chase Garbers. And he didn't seem to be the fully, greatest of blocking receivers either. He was involved in pretty much every special teams play, so there's a chance he might become one of those special teams gunner type players. Ike Brown, I think, was pretty solid as a cornerback. He did get one penalty during the second half, and he did only get one assist, but he didn't really get burned that often. I think he did a solid job at cornerback. But now we're going to talk about the one who really matters, and that's Kyle Sloter. He matters the most since, naturally, he's a quarterback. And the Jaguars went into this game deciding to do something that you can argue is a good idea or a bad idea. Since this was a special type of game, as this is a Hall of Fame game, meaning it's an extra preseason game for both these teams, naturally, also since it is a preseason, a lot of starters didn't play, like the big names, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, then, Devontae Adams and stuff like that. But their backup, CJ Beathard, who was kind of questionable for the game, ended up not playing. And the way they did it was the first half was Jake Luton, and the second half was Kyle Sloter. The first thing to note is just head-to-head in stats. Jake Luton did not perform as well overall, pending in your argument. He went 10 for 17, or I guess a 58.8 per completion percentage, which is very solid. It's not the best, but it is going to get the job done, and it was better than Kyle Sloter's 13 for 25, where he only had a .52. But Sloter was able to get 33 more yards with those 3 extra completions, so his completions per yards were better. And he did have 1 touchdown, which Luton didn't. And rushing-wise, Kyle Sloter was able to also be the only one of the 2 that had any rushes, rushing 2 times for 4 yards. Now, the main thing in terms of their play to note is the fact that when you look at the score, it's very simple to say that Jake Luton didn't do all that much. Now, it is important to note that, yes, their kicker did miss a field goal during that, but the thing also is that it was a 60-yarder, so you can't bank on a kicker making that, so I'm not going to count that as 3 points that Luton should have had. Whereas with Sloter was able to drive the offense much better than Luton was able to, being able to score a touchdown and get a field goal. As for the touchdown, the play was a very solid play, pass that was pretty on target to get him in the end zone. But overall, my idea of how Sloter played, I don't really think he did outplay Luton, but I guess in a very weird way, I think Sloter played like, this is in a good way, he played just like he did in the USFL. It's a good thing in the fact that he's playing against better competition, as these are guys who are usually backup third stringers fully, rather than fringe fourth stringers like the USFL, a lot of their players are. So the fact that Sloter was able to do pretty much an identical performance to what he did in the USFL against these slightly better competition is a good sign. But at the same time, his biggest problems did rear their ugly head. He did fumble the ball on a 4th and 1, which, ended up giving the ball right back to the Raiders. And even though you could say, it was a wet day because there was some rain delay and it happened to a couple other quarterbacks, the fact is, it is what I guess people would call the iconic, untimely turnover from Kyle Sloter. That being said, he also did throw a couple really bad passes that could have easily been picked off. But just like in the USFL, he also made a lot of solid, smart decisions. And just like how his rushing stats never do justice for how well he is at running the ball and getting out of pressures, he was very solid. He did get sacked a couple times. But overall, as for how he did, I think he did a lot better than Luton did. And I think that that's a very good sign. As long as he can continuously do better than Luton, he can make the roster, as I feel like most teams are pretty much going to have 3 quarterbacks on their roster. And this is a very good sign or step in the right direction. Him actually scoring a touchdown, them getting the 2-point conversion, And, him scoring 11 more points than his counterpart did is a good sign. So we'll have to see how, he plays next week and that preseason game. But we'll see. This has been ZombFox. If you enjoy this content, we'll be notified as soon as I upload any more videos. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, have a great night.